very happy Friday to you, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. And Joe's mentioned that if you were up really early this morning, I know I wasn't. We worked the late night shift, so sleeping a little bit, but we did get some rain today, but it seems like the rain for the most part has kind of gone away, and we're left with some cooler weather, but a little bit of sunshine. So, Joe, what is the weekend going to look like?
I wasn't up either. Don't worry.
Okay, makes you feel better.
But I did hear the rain.
Yeah.
I did get up one time and knew it was raining out. But yeah, you're right, Maya. It's kind of cleared out a little bit. There's still a few showers around, but I don't think we have a lot to worry about in terms of rain over the weekend coming up here. It'll be kind of a typical, late October weekend. If you can believe that, we're in our final weekend of October.
Wow.
Coming up here. So we'll take a look at that, any rain chances. And I still believe, we said this the last day or two, that tomorrow or later next week, a big warm up again on the way. So we'll talk more about that, kind of a look ahead at the weekend and beyond a little later in Mean Weather.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. And let's start off with our top story of the night. Former President Donald Trump is in Traverse City campaigning tonight. He's at Cherry Capital Airport. Now, this is actually the exact spot he was at during the night before the 2020 election. So this is video from the last time he was at Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City. Now, he's expected to take the stage tonight at 7:30, but the gates have been open since 3:30. And we heard from our reporters who were there, Allie Baxter and Cody Bear, that people have been lined up since this morning, just waiting to get in to get a good spot to see and hear the former president tonight. Now, we know that former president is a frequent visitor to our battleground state, and also his running mate, J.D. Vance, made a stop in Grand Traverse County just a few weeks ago. And for this election cycle, Traverse City is the furthest north in Michigan that former President Trump has campaigned in. So we know, based on what his campaign has told us, that he is expected to talk about the auto industry, and we will have much more on his speech. We are streaming it live on our Facebook, YouTube, and X pages. So pretty much right after Unscripted ends, we will probably start streaming that. He is expected to go on at 7:30. So we will see when he actually goes on, and we'll also have a full recap of that tonight on UpNorthLive News at 11. Like I said, we have two reporters down there, so they will have a full recap of that later tonight. But we do have a guest to bring in the show to talk a little bit more about Donald Trump's rally. But first, let's start off with our question of the day related to the event, and that is, have you decided who you're going to vote for already? And yeah, a lot of people have said yes. So far, we have 326 votes. So if you haven't voted yet, scan that QR code on your screen right now to vote. But as of right now, 99% of people said, yep, we know who we're voting for. Only 1% has said no. So let's bring in U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow. She is joining us live now. And Senator Stabenow, thank you so much for coming on Unscripted tonight.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to be with you on a Friday night in Traverse City. I have to say, first of all, I know there's the big game tonight, Patriot game.
Yep.
So I wish everybody well. I know it's a very, very special time and a game for the community. So I hope it's a lot of fun.
Yes, definitely a big night for Traverse City between the Patriot game and, of course, Donald Trump's rally. And as I mentioned, we know he's going to be talking about the auto industry. And this is a topic that he claims the Harris-Biden administration's push to electric vehicles is actually gutting Michigan's auto workers and their jobs. So what is your response to that?
Well, it couldn't be farther from the truth. And let me say, I have worked, it's in my honor to represent Michigan and the U.S. Senate now since 2001, worked when we thought we were going to have the auto industry go bankrupt. I'll never forget when Donald Trump at the time said, let them go bankrupt. It doesn't matter where cars are made if you can afford to buy one. And of course, it does matter where cars are made, and we do need and want and have an American automobile industry in Michigan. And now we're moving forward to the next generation of vehicles, some electric vehicles, some biofuels. There are folks that are focusing on hydrogen or gas-powered vehicles. There is no mandate as to what you buy. We just know that about 30% of all the pollution comes from vehicles, and we want them to be as clean as possible. And the exciting thing is that we're actually creating jobs. We're not losing jobs. Lear has announced new efforts in Traverse City that will be as a result of electric vehicle parts. We've just announced new jobs in Flint and Muskegon. And I was in Saginaw today where we're bringing home microchips, which are a big part of what we need to do for not only electric vehicles, but everything electric, from cell phones to your dishwasher to your vehicle. And so what we're doing now is focusing on the next generation of vehicles. And my concern is that the folks that have the biggest stake in the way we do things now, which are the oil companies, are heavily funding the former president. They're heavily funding folks to try and undermine and slow down efforts that would cause us not to have to stop at the gas station and for them to be able to set whatever price they want, because they set the prices on gas. And so it's, we're in a big transition that involves new jobs. We are gaining jobs, not losing jobs. Under Donald Trump was the only president who actually lost manufacturing jobs between when he took office and left office. And that doesn't count COVID. That's not about COVID. It's about the fact that we had plants closed in Michigan. And now we've got plants opening in Michigan. And I'm excited because, we're pretty smart and we've got the best workers in the world and people that are innovating like crazy. And it's not a negative, horrible time like he talks all about. It's a positive time. We just got to make sure everybody can benefit from it. Everybody needs a fair shot to be able to be a part of it.
And we know the auto industry plays such a huge role in our state, especially down in the Motor City. But here in northern Michigan, the agriculture industry plays a very crucial role. Of course, Traverse City is the cherry capital of the world. And as chair of the Agriculture Committee, how do you think Donald Trump's policies would impact the agriculture industry across our state, but especially here in northern Michigan?
Well, first of all, let me say we don't have an economy, and somebody makes something and somebody grows something. And that's what we do in Michigan. I am really concerned about the policies in the president's agenda that was rolled out, Project 2025, because it would gut crop insurance. It would basically stop all of the support we've put together for agriculture. And right now, our sweet cherries just had a really bad situation, slammed on the weather. We've lost about 75% of the crop. They count on crop insurance and other support to be able to survive. And unfortunately, what he has proposed, his approach on trade will stop our growers from being able to sell overseas. So it's very negative. And the other thing that I remember is his very first budget ended the funding to protect our Great Lakes, something I authored years and years ago. And fortunately, we were able to, on a bipartisan basis, stop that from happening. But I worked a lot with Donald Trump when he was president. I don't think he understands Michigan. He certainly doesn't understand the Great Lakes. He doesn't understand what it means to make things and grow things, and the fact that we've got a lot of hardworking people in Michigan. They just want it. They want their costs to go down. They want a shot to make it. They want good jobs, safe communities, and what I see in his proposals are exactly the opposite.
And so, Senator Stabenow, our question of the day for our show today is, have you decided who you're voting for? 99% of people have voted yes. They already know who they're voting for. But there is still that 1% of our voters who don't know yet. So what would you tell people in Michigan? Obviously, you're supporting Kamala Harris. So why do you think people in Michigan should vote for Kamala Harris?
Well, I have voted already absentee for Kamala Harris. I know her well. We were senators together. One of the things I'll always remember is that when I first met her in the first meeting we were in, talking about priorities for the Senate, she said, I want to focus on those things that keep families up at 3 o'clock in the morning. What's happening in terms of their job, or having a house, or feeding the kids, or health insurance. And that's what I know about her. She's real. She's smart. She's prepared. She understands Michigan and is very focused on growing our middle class. And she's been tough enough to take on the drug companies. There's more to do. She knows that. But the reality is she'll follow through. She'll follow through on the things that are really important to us. And I have firsthand knowledge of having worked with Donald Trump when he was president and what that really meant for us. And we deserve better in Michigan.
And Senator Stabenow, as you're coming to the last few months of your career, I'm sure you have been busy campaigning for Kamala Harris, but have you taken some time to reflect on your career? Like you mentioned, you've been holding this Senate seat since 2001. What are some of the highlights of your career?
Well, I've lived in Michigan my whole life, and Traverse City is someplace I frequented my whole life and continue to intend to do that. And so, but I've been really focused on the things that we care about in Michigan, leading the efforts to protect our Great Lakes, working with our farmers to do everything we can to support rural communities and our farmers, making things. I'm very aware of the ups and downs of the auto industry and manufacturing, and we are definitely now on an upswing, which I want to make sure we keep going. But the other thing for me is healthcare, including mental health. I've worked very hard to create a transformation in community mental health care where it's funded as insurance. And we're in the middle of that transition right now. We have 41 new community mental health centers around Michigan that are comprehensive. Anybody can get help. And I want to make sure that that transformation really happens and that it's permanent so that we're treating healthcare above the neck the same as healthcare below the neck.
And so you plan to stay in Michigan for your retirement. Anything else on the agenda?
Well, I absolutely plan to stay in Michigan. My whole family's in Michigan, and I want to spend a lot more time up north in Traverse City.
All right, Senator Stabenow, thank you so much for joining us on Unscripted and for your service to the state of Michigan all these years. We really appreciate it. And before we take a quick commercial break, we do have one national story to share with you related to the election. So in the final days of campaigning, there have been 7 battleground states that are getting a lot of attention, including Michigan, because they are expected to decide the outcome of the presidential race. But the candidates themselves, they're also setting their sights on the other states that they know they probably don't have a good chance of winning. And our national correspondent Atra El-Nashar has a closer look at their strategies.
This presidential election has shattered norms in all kinds of ways. So perhaps it's appropriate that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are not sticking to the traditional campaign playbook in the final week and a half before Election Day. For Harris, a Democrat, that means going to deep red Texas.
It's not going to be about one party versus another.
Democratic Congressman Colin Allred, who's running to take Senator Ted Cruz's seat, appearing with Harris and Beyonce at a Houston rally Friday.
By going to Texas, this underscores her campaign message that she will be a president for all of the people, not just some of them.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Trump also in Texas Friday, in Austin, to appear on Joe Rogan's podcast, which draws a predominantly male audience.
He knows that he's got an edge there, not just among white male voters, but he's starting to get some more votes from non-white male voters, and he's looking to build upon that.
On Sunday, instead of covering ground in a swing state, Trump will hold a rally at Madison Square Garden in deep blue New York City.
Ronald Reagan would have 350 people, 400 people. We sell out these things, 25,000 people at Madison Square Garden.
Harris also set to deliver a major speech on Tuesday, not from a swing state, but from here in Washington, D.C., on the Ellipse, the same place Trump delivered his infamous January 6th speech before his supporters stormed the Capitol. Her closing argument expected to be focused on preserving democracy.
The American people are being presented with a very serious decision. And it includes what we must understand will happen starting on January 20th.
In these final days, last-minute undecided voters often make their pick based on a candidate's character, not necessarily their policies.
It's really going to be these candidates getting out and showing people that they can be trusted, that they provide good leadership, and that they have the experience and qualifications for office.
Harris and Trump now have just a week and a half to drive that message home. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Let's take a quick commercial break, but we'll bring our Chief Meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, back into the conversation. He'll have much more on your weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, I didn't even realize this until Joe mentioned it earlier, but this weekend is the last weekend of October. So I'm sure a lot of folks are going to want to get outside, maybe go to some pumpkin patches or haunted houses or all that fall Halloween fun. So, Joe, will the weather be favorable for these folks wanting to get outside this weekend?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, for this time of the year, pretty average weather coming up. It's kind of like balancing the fact that we do need rain with wanting to have a nice weekend coming up here. But I was thinking that, Maya, today. I'm like, you know what? We're like 4 weeks from Thanksgiving and about 8 from Christmas.
That is wild.
It just goes so quick. I'll look over the Mackinac Bridge where we are inching in on sunset and still some fall color out there. You know, it depends on the tree a little bit there. If you want to take a look at kind of where we are around the region, here's a look at that. So in the UP, we're now pretty much the entire UP past peak. The Petoskey, Gaylord, Traverse City, Houghton Lake areas at peak or past based on the reports I've had coming in over the course of the week. So that's kind of where we are. If you want to check some of that out, maybe with the last decent weekend, maybe do that before the leaves come off all the trees. Here's what's going on weather-wise. We have a cold front that passed. That was the second one this week that passed through this morning. If you're up early, it was cloudy. We had some rain to begin the day and then started to clear out a little bit as we got into the afternoon. Here's what that kind of looked like on radar right there. There's the rain we had this morning, and then our front passed by, and then a little bit of clearing. There's still a few showers out there this evening right there. Grayling, if you're tuned in there watching, a little rain going to slide through here shortly, back over toward Mayo, which just had a few showers, and then around Harrisville. And then up in the UP, a few showers here coming in off Lake Superior. Or up there near Quamanon Falls, Luce County, south of Newberry, a couple of lone showers out there. We do need rain. That's been a big issue. There's a look at things. Severe drought conditions now from basically Manistee up through the Grand Traverse region, north of Gaylord, and then to the bridge, and then all of the eastern UP. And this has been getting, this updates once a week. Bunch of different agencies put these together, but you get the idea. We definitely need more rain moving forward. Here's a kind of a quick look at the weekend. We'll still see some showers north and east of Gaylord tonight through tomorrow. Right there. There won't be a lot of rain, so I don't expect much of a washout situation. And then as we get into Saturday night and Sunday, a little bit of cloud cover. I wouldn't plan on a full day of sunshine. And, we'll call it mostly cloudy. Same thing on Monday. Some clouds kind of drifting in. Here's a look ahead. We'll take you all the way through Halloween. There's our extended forecast. Not bad for the weekend. Now, look at Tuesday and Wednesday. First off, look at the temperatures, 60s and 70s. But it will be cloudy. There will be some showers, and it's going to be very windy, especially Tuesday night into Wednesday. Warm and windy, a south wind. And then a front will pass through here. And then on Halloween, which is Thursday, it looks like showers in the morning maybe, and then highs in the 50s. So Halloween will be kind of closer to average in terms of temperature, maybe a shower in the morning.
But no snow. So that's good.
Not this year. Right.
All right. Thanks, Joe. We're going to take another quick break. But when we come back, we will check in with sports director Harrison Beebe. He is down at Thrill Field in Traverse City for the big Patriot game between Traverse City Central and Traverse City West. He'll have a full report in just a few minutes. We are just a few minutes away from kickoff for one of the biggest high school football games in northern Michigan of the year. That is the Patriot game between Traverse City Central and Traverse City West at Thrilby Field. That's where we find our sports director, Harrison Beebe, who is joining us live now. Harrison, how's the atmosphere down there?
Maya, it's pretty special. Obviously, they're doing the pregame ceremony on the field right now behind me. Players from both Central and West marching down the line and giving a thank you to veterans and first responders in attendance on the field. Really being honored by all 10,000 people. We'll do kind of a pan of the crowd there. You see the home side at Central and the road side at West. So plenty of people are here, even with the other big event going on in Traverse City tonight. So it's still going to be a pretty cool atmosphere for Week 9 high school football, and should be a pretty good game as well. Central and West seem pretty evenly matched. West kind of got them last year in a bit of a surprise, and they're going in favor this year probably if odds makers did that for high school football. But maybe the Trojans will throw them a surprise or two tonight. This one always seems to provide a lot of excitement.
And how about some other games happening around northern Michigan tonight?
I think my other favorite game that I'm intrigued to see what's happening, Petoskey and Clare are meeting up down in Clare, and those are both two playoff teams. Petoskey's going for their first undefeated season in 50 years. It's been 1974 the last time the Northmen were 9-0, so they're going to try and do that tonight, but Clare is 7-1. So that's a tough opponent, and they're hosting the game too. Several de facto conference titles are going to be clinched tonight, although the teams they're playing have the chance to change it up. The game you're going to, Mansalona, could prevent Glen Lake from winning a conference title outright. Boyne City could prevent Traverse City St. Francis from winning a conference title outright. And Inland Lakes and Gaylord St. Mary playing for the Ski Valley title in 8 players. So a lot still on the line for Week 9 as we go into the playoffs next week.
All right, Harrison, thank you so much for joining us from Thrilby Field. Enjoy that Patriot game, and we will have highlights from all of the games happening across northern Michigan tonight on Hometown Highlights at 11. Let's take one more quick break, but we will check back in with our question of the day and the live results in just a few minutes.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today is, have you already made up your mind on who you will vote for? 99% of people say yes. Only 1% has said no. Scan that QR code on your screen right now to vote. And a lot of people are commenting on our Facebook post that not only have they made up their mind, but they've already dropped off their mail-in ballot. Some people are getting ready to vote tomorrow. A reminder, early in-person voting does start tomorrow across the state of Michigan. Not every place does offer early in-person voting, though. So to find out if your local voting poll does have it, go to our website, UpNorthLive.com. But thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you at 11 o'clock.